right, see if anybody shows up. Hey, Simon. Good to see you. Hey, Angel. Angel. Sorry, I said that wrong. Okay, so the last thing I did yesterday, surprising, I'm playing my horns twice in 2 days. That's impressive for me. Rob Stutchberry said, would be good to know your thoughts on learning 2-5-1s, and do you think in terms of chords or keys when playing stuff like Scrapple from the Apple? Okay, so I want to talk about that. So Scrapple from the Apple, if you don't know it, it's like an old bebop tune. You see, I've got it pulled up here. Oh, this is gonna be super loud. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Change the sound. Okay, so the song has like a ton of 2-5-1 changes in it. All right. Okay. Right. So straight up bebop. For a tune like this, when I'm going through the changes, first of all that stuff goes by super fast. So your best friend when you're playing that stuff is just plain old bebop scales. Like if we're on that G minor, so the first two bars, G minor, C7, again, right? So you can get tons of mileage if you're playing stuff like let me sustain this chord first. So a lot of that approach note, or not approach note, a lot of that passing tone type stuff is, I'll play that kind of slow one more time. That kind of stuff, you know, like the bebop scale kind of stuff can get you a ton of mileage, and that's how you can kind of make your way through a lot of these type of 2-5-1 progressions that happen really quickly. A lot of it has to do with just I know how to play these bebop scales really quickly, and I can say, all right, I want to land on this note because I like this tension. Turn this down. I like the way that minor 11 sounds. Or maybe I want to land on the 13 of the C chord. I want to land on that note, right? So I can find a bebop scale that's going to put me there. Like. Right? And so what I'm thinking about when I'm playing those kinds of lines is how can I get to, how can I end up on that note or that? And in the process of playing that line, I'm also thinking about, like, let me play a line that can highlight certain types of tensions. Like instead of playing that, what if I make it that chord, G minor major 7? You know, how does that change what my line ends up sounding like? Right? Imagine I'm playing that. Right? And that's in the context of like that's in the context of a chord progression like that. I'm trying, you know, I haven't done this stuff for months, so pardon my sloppy fingers, but the concept is still valid, and if you slow down your tempo and you do it really slowly, things make a lot more sense. What is this the chat button here? See, it says live chat. Live chat, all messages are visible. What's up, bro? Hey, Marcus Lee. Greetings from Argentina. Oh, okay, cool. So let's, that's a big thing to think about. Like, let's take the bridge for that tune. It's E minor, right? A7, D minor, D7, right? G sus, G7, C7, then it's like 3/6. Okay, so if you, what you can do for those 4 bars, if you say that, you know, after this whole walk down, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm trying to get to this G sus chord. So what's a cool note that I can land on in susland territory? Obviously, like, you know, the 13 is cool. Right? So I'm trying to get to this E, and I've got 4 bars to do it. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So that's a lot of time. So something that I can do is, remember, I'm trying to get to that note, so I can just play like a bunch of cool lines or other harmony as long as I play something that resolves to that tension. It resolves to that tension. Why is this so loud? Resolves to that tension in like a really strong manner. So what are some things that you can do to get to that note in like a really strong way? Well, we come back to our bebop scales. So we're gonna get to like a G7 chord, so we can kind of do like, what's a G7 chord scale that we can play? Can you give us a cannonball descending bop line? Sure. I'll try to do that in this context. So let me go from the bridge. That's not cannonball at all. That's just blues and regular bebop. So I was trying to say about how to get to that, how to get to that G sus chord. So G sus chord on tenor, that's A sus chord. Okay, so I really should have thought about this before I started doing this video. So, okay, let me go back to the 2-5-1 pattern. So we got this sound, and this sound. Okay, so for those, as an example of that, let me play some stuff that sounds like it's focusing on the C. Like the C is my target note. That's the note I want to land on for my lines, okay, when I'm going through this progression. All right? So just imagine that progression in your head while I'm playing these lines. 1, 2, hey, hey, ho. Okay, so hopefully, and that's a lot of information right there. Just trying to blast through some of those notes. Hopefully, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. A lot of this has to do with just like being able to hear the different tensions of the chords, like if I want to land on the 3rd of a G minor chord, right? If I want to land on the 11th, do I want to land on the 9th, 7th, do I want to land on the 13, right? Do I want to land on like the major 7, sharp 11, right? That's kind of a funky sound. And being able to just say to myself, I want to land on this note, and I've got 4 beats to do it, and I don't really care if what I play gets there in like a cool sounding way or not, or if it's technically correct. Awesome. Yeah, that was good times. That's just like bebop and blues. Appreciate you saying that. How can I get that to show back up? Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Now I can scroll. Awesome. So yeah, a lot of it is like just knowing like a ton of runs that you can do that will work on top of this stuff, and just like, okay, so all right, here's a good exercise you can do. Just pick one chord color, and practice playing lines that end on certain harmonic tones. There's not harmonic tones. They end on certain degrees of the scale. So let's stick with our G minor, because that's, you know, kind of where we are with Scrapple from the Apple. All right, and let's work on some lines that kind of they go from they have a target destination. Okay, so we'll start with the root. We want to play. We've got, it's in 4/4 time. We'll play 8th notes. So we've got eight notes to fill up. That's going to put us right on that root of the key, right on beat 1. Okay, so obviously the first one is. Right, if I play that chord and do that. Okay, we can kind of do the same thing. I'll play that line real slow for you. Okay, it's just regular minor bebop scale. That's the passing tone. Okay, the F sharp right there. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. We'll do the 9th. Okay, play it again with that sound going on. Right, again, I'm only thinking about trying to get the whatever line I'm playing, I want to land on that one tension note. In this case, it was the 9th. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to land on the 3rd. All right, we want to end on that note. Okay. Right? Okay. Do it again, this time for the 11th. Okay. Right? Hopefully that's making some sense, and that's what a lot of this is if you start to write down a lot of the lines that guys like Cannonball and Coltrane and Brecker and Pete Chrisley or Sonny Stitt or whatnot, if you start to write down the lines that they play and you analyze where the lines are either the most accented or where the lines have the strongest resolution point, you'll notice that it's like their lines are obviously trying to target these types of tones, or these types of harmonic destinations. And that's really what playing bebop and writing lines is all about. And you'll notice the same pattern through tons of classical music too. Like, it's all about the line that the instrument ends up playing is just kind of a funny way, it might have like some weird chromaticism going on in it, but it's kind of a funny way to just get to a particular harmonic tension relative to the chord that the other instruments are playing. Sorry if that sounds kind of analytical and kind of takes the magic out of it, but really, if you break it down that way and you start to study what everybody's lines are that they're playing, that's what's going on. They're just, their ears are really fast, and they don't have to think about what their fingers are trying to do to make that happen. They've already shedded that to death, so that way, if they say, I want to land on this note, right, they can just play some line that automatically does that. Right? So that's me getting to the getting to that part of the tune right at the end. Okay. Anybody got any questions with regard to what the original post was about with 251s? What do you think of in terms of chords or keys when playing stuff like Scrapple from the Apple? So if you have a question, by all means, I know there's 10 of you that are currently watching this. I thank all of you for checking it out. Let's see. Marcus Lee, did you have a thing? You first learned about you from watching Temple Praise Band Joy to the World. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, all right. Trying to think of what else I could cover or try to show. A lot of it has to do with just, have you put in the time to really get those types of sounds under your fingers? A good example of this is like once you start to get a tune like Scrapple from the Apple together, try playing it in a different key. Like let's go up a half step. Okay, so we'll try playing the tune instead of the key of F, we'll play it in the key of F sharp, because what's wrong with the challenge, If we mess up, we just press pause, we work out what we're trying to do, and then we continue on where we are in the chord progression. Okay, so okay, cool. All right, that was fun. That's a cool key to play that song in. It's challenging. It's cool because when you get to the bridge part, you're playing in F7 on tenor, which has like a ton of really cool, like bluesy sounds that you can do on there. Let's see who said a question. What tenor is that from C. Marcelin? This is a Yanagisawa T900 that I got in the year 2000 or 1999, something like that. It's like $800. Got it on eBay. It was probably stolen. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. It was like, it should have been like 2,000, like $1,500 at the time, but for whatever reason they were getting rid of it. So no complaints. It's been good to me. It's very noisy. Yeah. Everybody who gets a horn knows that the horn doesn't make much of a difference to the sound. It's all here and all here, and all in your the actual oral cavity and your nasal cavity. That's what affects like how you put air into the horn and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, appreciate that question. Let's see. Yeah. So, what's another tune? I haven't learned too many new tunes in a long time, so I'm kind of right now I'm just trying to like get the rust off the keys, trying to get that stuff going. But yeah. Oh, Simon, you asked a couple of questions. Let me see. From last one. Do I know Con Alma, Stardust, September in the Rain, Wine Light, or Lovely Day? I've heard Wine Light. Stardust, I'm not. I'd have to pull the chart. September in the Rain, I used to play the Aebersalts for that. Con Alma. I don't think this is the tune I'm thinking of, but maybe it is. The Dizzy Gillespie tune, maybe that's the one. I don't know, but we'll do Lovely Day because that's pretty easy. What key should we do that in? Does anybody have a preference for what key we should do that in? Let's see. I don't know what kind of lag time there is for when this stuff shows up. Anyway, what key is that? That's normally the key V. Okay, so. Face is like almost done. Okay, let's see. In your opinion, what is the biggest difference between a rubber mouthpiece versus a metal mouthpiece? Okay, so obviously the profile of the mouthpiece, the chamber and the baffle, that's strictly down to however the manufacturer decides to design it. Case in point, there are a lot of so when you're like first learning to play and you're like learning classical music for Allstate or whatever, your private teacher, if you have one, will usually tell you got to go get like a Selmer C-Star mouthpiece or whatever. So you can also get a mouthpiece that has a similar table and tip opening and chamber type and baffle type in metal form. And if you're used to playing on a smaller profile mouthpiece, that's going to be awesome. Like for me, if I were to go play a hard rubber tenor mouthpiece, it's gonna feel like crazy huge. Same where like if I try to break out my old hard rubber Meyer mouthpiece and play it on my alto, it feels gigantic compared to playing on the Theo Wani piece that I've been playing on for, geez, that's got to be like 5 or 6 years. But you know, the common thing with a lot of mouthpiece manufacturers, if it's like a metal mouthpiece, you're going to put a high baffle in it, so you get a lot of airspeed and whatnot. But for the most part, yeah, that's mainly the big difference. There's a lot of people who play hard rubber mouthpieces because it's got the right chamber design that they want and the right baffle design that they want, and they don't want to have to deal with the problems that come with manufacturing metal mouthpieces. Like, the material is just a lot harder to work with. It's metal versus, like, you know, hard rubber. Yeah. What were we gonna do with Lovely Day that Simon asked for? So, with regard to Lovely Day, like, that tune is, you know, it's all kind of diatonic to the key of E. Right, then we go to the A chord. And it's like A minor, kind of like that. So you can kind of get away, except for when it goes to that minor 4 chord to a minor flat, dominant flat 7. You can kind of get away with just playing in the key of E the whole time, which, you know, if you're playing on a tenor, that's the key of F sharp. If you're playing on an alto, that's the key of C sharp. These are not hard keys. If you just shed your bebop scales, sorry, I was just noticing that comment that popped up. Shed your bebop scales in those keys only, and just, you know, just put in the time. Just say, like, okay, I'm just gonna play in the key of E, and I'm gonna just start with like a regular. I'm gonna play an E concert, F sharp for tenor. So let me just dial in playing, just, you know, getting inside that sound and learning to play that sound. So start out with your scales. Right, you know, start throwing in your pentatonic licks, but don't just play them like as boring pentatonic runs. Like, try to break it up. Like in that case, I think I did groupings of 5, like 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. That might not be what I've done. I don't. I'd have to slow it down and like actually listen back and check. Right, and then you can start throwing in your start like in your head, imagining you're doing different chord progressions. Like, keep it simple. Just do, like, you know, 1 chord, you know, then take it to the A chord. I wish I had a looper pedal to kind of get that looping and going. But anyway, so for something like that, you know, if that's what you're doing in your head, then, you know, just shed along with it and make the notes that you play outline that harmonic progression. And at the same time, when you're going to target a note, like when you change chords, like in the okay, here's a good example. When I go to the 4 chord, what's the note that sticks out the most for that 4 chord? Right? It's that major 7th, right? So I'm gonna play lines that kind of highlight when I get to the 4 chord, that highlight that, right? So see if you can hear it. All right. I don't know what happened, why they disconnected. Okay. So did that make sense? Hopefully that made sense. You know, playing lines that outline the harmonic tension that you're trying to imply if you don't have backing instruments. If you can do that with your lines and you're able in your head to kind of keep track of where you are in the song or in the chord progression harmonically, it's going to come across to the audience and they're going to be like, yo, that guy picks really good notes. He picks the notes that I want to hear, right? Okay. You see, how did you work on perfecting your intonation and altissimo? People tell me I have an incredible sound, but sometimes when sometimes when I listen back, I hear it's got nasty notes. Okay, that's a good question. So the best way to do that is to literally just get a tuner and just play some random stuff, and then when you get to like a stopping point in your lines, just hold that note out, look at your tuner, and see if you're in tune. That way, like if you're just playing some random stuff, like you're just working on some bebop scales in like a weird key, like key of G sharp for tenor, F sharp for concert pitch. Say you're just like trying to shed your minor bebop scales for that, and you want to make sure that you get your like E key or whatever dialed in tune. So work on that. I don't know if I'm in tune. I don't have a tuner up right now, but you start doing that, and you'll start to kind of feel when the horn is in tune, because it'll be in the context of you like playing stuff, as opposed to just like I'm just gonna blow long tones into just to like work on my tone. That's dumb. I've never been a fan of doing that, because it's not playing the instrument. It's just you're just making like a boring static sound. It's kind of like doing the wall sit exercise, if you remember that from elementary school, where you literally like put your back against the wall and kind of do like a 90-degree bend with your legs, and then you just sit there and see how long you can hold it. Like, that's not fun. Who wants to do that for like 10-15 minutes? I don't feel like it gets you any closer tone-wise. It just makes these muscles strong, and you can get that same muscle activity by just playing. So do that. All right, I think I'm going to end that here because it's lunchtime, and it's been 32 minutes. That's a long time. Appreciate you guys for checking it out. Be sure to leave me some comments and let me know. Let me know what if you have more of these types of questions. I'm always cool to check it out. I've done this, like I've been playing this horn for like 20-25 years. So a lot of the stuff that I do, I don't have to think about it anymore. It's just habit now, and intuition and instinct at this point. And I feel like the thing that a lot of beginners struggle with is getting to that point where they don't have to think about what they play. They can just play what they hear. So by all means, ask me questions, and I'll see if I can help you get to that point. All right, take her easy. Later.